What's good, everyone? For today's video, we've got the next fights to make after UFC 311. Let's get into it. Let's get straight to it. Okay, first off, we've got Grant Dawson, and I've got him fighting Benoit Saint-Denis, BSD. Now, Grant Dawson, I picked against him. I picked Diego Ferreira, but because I thought Diego Ferreira was able to stuff his takedowns, keep it on the feet, possibly KO him or win by decision. That didn't happen, sadly, but he scraped a decision, very boring, just smudging him, and he was ranked a few weeks ago until Joel Alvarez came into the ranking, so I'm thinking, let's give him an easy test. Probably the worst ranked fighter in the lightweight division, BSD. He's on a 2-fight losing streak, and for him, this is the worst fighter he's going to face since that losing streak. Let's move on. I believe Bogdan Gushkov and Johnny Walker should just get rebooked because Bogdan, he fought outside of the rankings. He fought a newcomer, Bobby Elikana, made easy work of him. Lost that first round, but in that second round showed that it was just a fluke, him getting taken down this time the third, and destroyed him. I want to see this fight as well because it'll provide another highlight reel of Johnny Walker getting flatline KO'd. But not much here to say because this fight was already booked for this card, and I just think it should be rebooked. Let's move on. For Peyton Talbot, I know this may not make much sense, but just trust me. Like you see in this picture here, he regrows his afro back out, and he fights Ricky Simone. You're probably thinking, why Ricky Simone? Because Ricky Simone is better than Raoni Barcelos, but who the fuck knows, okay? What's it called? This is another person who's going to try wrestle him, and this is hopefully Peyton Talbot learned from his last fight that he's not invincible, and he's not the best wrestler either. And putting him up against a wrestler in Ricky Simone will help him, and maybe he can prove to us that that last fight was a fluke and he's improved significantly over time. For Raoni Barcelos, I apologize for the images, by the way. For Raoni Barcelos, I'm saying he should fight Cody Garbrandt. He was a massive underdog, upset, and fraud checked a huge opponent, and now let's give him Cody Garbrandt. You know, this is a reward for him beating a big prospect. You know, not a fight that's too hard, but a big fight against a huge fighter who's very well known and liked. And with this fight, he's going to get a lot of spotlight. And if he can win, it's going to do great things for his career, just like that Peyton Talbot win. And at the same time, it's not too hard. He won't be that big of an underdog. So that's my reasoning for this fight. Let's move on to the main card. And let's start with Kevin Holland. I believe Kevin Holland should fight Chris, the Crybaby Curtis. Now, both these guys must piss everyone off. Kevin Holland doesn't care about his fights. Chris Curtis is just a fucking bitch. I believe that this fight should happen because Kevin Holland has fought back-to-back grapplers. In Roman Dolidze and now RDR, and let's just give him a fun striking battle. Chris Curtis just lost to Roman Kopylov in a good war where he got knocked out with a head kick in the last seconds, and this is a good comeback fight for him, very winnable for both guys. I think close fight. Neither of them are going to have to fear getting taken down, so yeah, it'll be a nice fun war. Let's move on to RDR. RDR called for a top 5 opponent, which he definitely doesn't deserve. Kyle Barrio would fucking fold him. But I believe RDR should fight Jacko Manson. Give him the Jacko Manson test. Jacko Manson's coming off a fraud check over Joe Pyfer, and let's see if he can fraud check RDR. This time RDR isn't going to get something as easy as a Gerald Mishad or someone with no grappling defense in Kevin Holland. He's going to get Jacko Manson, who is old, crafty vet, and we'll see who can win this fight. It would be great to be booked, giving RDR a shot in the rankings, but let's move on. Sergey Spivak, let's see him versus Marcos Rogerio de Lima. Sergey Spivak, a lot of the fat heavyweights are all booked. Marcos Rogerio de Lima is not one of them. So he's coming off a win as well. So let's just see him fight up in the rankings because he won, and Sergey Spivak fight down because he lost. Let's move on to Jelton Almeida. Jelton Almeida called out Cyril Gane, and I believe that is a great call out. This is what should be booked next. I believe Dana White should just let Volkov sit out and wait for a title shot, because even Dana White said Volkov won that fight. And Cyril Gane, even though he beat Volkov and you should get a title shot off that, it was a robbery, so let's put him through Jelton Almeida. This will be a very tough test for him. I believe Jelton Almeida will ragdoll him, sub him in the first or second round, but this is also by far the best opponent that Jelton Almeida has fought, apart from apart from Curtis Blades. This will be a nice, interesting fight. Would be able to push either one further to the title, Jelton Almeida, if he wins this, he either fights Tom Aspinall or does a Curtis Blades rematch. If Cyril Gane wins this, then he undeniably gets a fight with Tom Aspinall. Let's go to the feature fight. First off, for Jamal Hill, I believe the rebooking of Hill and Roundtree should happen. One of the main reasons is because I like seeing Jamal Hill lose, but also because this is a good fight. I believe Khalil Roundtree would beat him easily. I think this should be booked for a main event of a fight night, 5 rounds. I want to see this go 5 rounds. I don't want to see this as a feature fight on a pay-per-view. So my prediction for this would be Khalil Roundtree by either dominant decision or by late round KO or TKO. I just don't believe Jamal Hill is that good, and I think his chin is definitely weared off, getting weary, and we saw in that Yuri fight with him getting dropped 3 times in the fight, and his chin is just getting worse and worse and worse after that Alex Pereira fight, and I believe this will be easy for Khalil Roundtree and will just push him straight back into the title picture. Now for Yuri. Many people have been saying this, but it's just obvious, and this is what should happen and probably will happen. Yuri should fight the winner of Carlos Ulberg, Jan Blachowicz, which will probably be Carlos Ulberg. This fight, because Yuri isn't going to get a third fight with Alex Pereira after losing to him twice dominantly and after just 1 win. Even though Jamal Hill's a good winner, for some reason, my prediction was spot on. I said that. I don't know why Yuri is a big underdog. Well, not a big underdog, he is an underdog, and he should be a big favorite, and that he's going to KO Jamal Hill, which he did. He did all those things. Well, this fight, if he wins this fight, he can he's deserving of a title shot. Beating Jamal Hill and beating Ulberg gives you a deserving of a title shot. Also, another fight is if Alex Pereira beats Magomed Ankalaev, just instead of this, put him against Ankalaev. And do Ulberg versus Pereira, because if Ankalaev beats Pereira, though, they're just going to rebook a rematch, and Yuri doesn't want to sit out for a whole entire year. So let's do that for Yuri, and let's move on to the co-main. For Umar Nurmagomedov, there's a few guys, but I'm picking out Deiveson Figueiredo, even though I said he should move down divisions. Umar, he was very good in those first 2 rounds. I was watching with my mates. I was sitting down there. We were all thinking, Umar's got this. This is dominant. He's going to win this fight. And then Merab, just as Merab thinks, makes him gas out and out-cardios him and beats him 48-47. By the way, that 49-46 scorecard was fucking insane. I don't know how you score round 1 for Merab. Umar outstruck him. Merab didn't take him down, and Umar wobbled him by the end. So yeah, but Umar Figueiredo, I'm sorry Figueiredo. Figueiredo will get dominated. Make it like 3 rounds. You can give him Figueiredo, or you can give him the winner of Cejudo Song Yadong, because Umar, he lost that fight. I think it's just inexperience, and he needs to pace himself. I think if he rematches Merab, I think he'll beat Merab. But Umar showed very good talent, very impressive skill in the first 2 rounds. I'm stumbling upon my words. Fucking hell. I'm an idiot. Umar showed very great skill against Merab in those first 2 rounds. So I think rebook another. I just said 3-round fight. It should be 5 rounds because Umar needs to get that 5-round cardio if he wants to beat Merab. And Figueiredo is a good fight down. It will be quite easy for him though, same as Song Yadong, but that can get him right back into the title picture. Now, I don't think this is going to be the immediate fight that's booked. I think it's going to be a rematch with Sean O'Malley, but that's not what should happen. I think it's clear that Merab should fight Pantoja. Pantoja clear, he's going to be booked against. Merab isn't that active. Pantoja is going to be booked against Kai Kara France. I'm predicting either UFC 314 or UFC 315. He'll be booked against Kai Kara France for the flyweight belt, and he's already cleared out flyweight, but if he beats him, that just shows how much he's cleared it out, and he's already deserving of a double champ fight. And Merab doesn't really have many people to fight. Umar, we'll see an Umar fight again, a rematch in about a year probably, and we'll see probably a fight with Sean O'Malley, which he's already fought. But Pantoja, he's never fought. Pantoja's deserving of moving up, so it only makes sense that they should fight each other. And I believe this fight is actually a lot closer than people say. I think Pantoja, well, I don't think it's a big statement to say Pantoja is better than him everywhere. I think apart from takedowns, Pantoja is better on the ground, better on the feet. But the real question is, will he be able to out-cardio? Will Merab just cardio max his way to a victory again? Will we see Pantoja win the first 2 rounds and then lose the last 3? Will we see him sub him, or will we see him have good cardio and go out there and win 3 straight rounds and win a decision over Merab? This fight has a lot of questions and will be very interesting to see if it was booked. We'll also be able to plummet either of them up in the all-time rankings. Merab having a win over Pantoja would be very, very good, and Pantoja being double champ status possibly puts him in the top 10. Let's move on to the main event, and let's start with Money Magano. I cannot afford to lose this fight. It's obvious. This is a fight we need to see. Moicano vs Paddy Pimblett. I wish this would have been a tough as well, even though the tough is quite good. Chael's in DC, very good. This would just be such a great build-up, such a fun fight. Put this feature fight of a pay-per-view, or make this a fight night main event. Just a great fight. 2 great grapplers. They're both mediocre strikers, but very good grapplers. And it'd be a great competitive fight on the ground. Let's move on to the end. For the main event winner, the best fighter in the UFC, Islam Makhachev. I believe he should because Dana said that Arman isn't getting a straight title shot. I think he should fight. So I think that they should book Arman vs Oliveira 5-round co-main event for UFC Miami, UFC 314 in Miami. That's what I believe should be booked. And then the winner of that should fight Islam, because Islam isn't going to have enough time, isn't going to be moving up straight away, because Bilal is recovered probably, but Shavkat's probably taking a bit of time to recover. Their fight's probably going to be at like UFC 315, 316, and then Shavkat would only again fight at the end of the year or at the start of last year. Islam didn't take much damage. Islam could see a return maybe at UFC 317. They just need to find an opponent, and that's why I think this should be booked quite soon at UFC 314, where the closest spot for it to be booked. So this fight, if I would want Charles Oliveira to win because I'm a big fan. I want to see him get close to the belt, but either way, I think Islam wins. I think he wins a 49-46 over Arman, and I think this new and improved Oliveira, he won't be able to sub. I think he'll take Oliveira to a 49-46 as well, maybe. But, yep, that's my next fights to make video after UFC 311. Thank you for watching if anyone did, and have a great day. Peace.